Hi, I'm Liz. I run B.Willow. I am here today with a pretty exciting announcement. This feels like something that's been in the works since I graduated college in 2009. So I've prepared something in writing that I would like to read to you. It's a little long, that's why I decided doing an Instagram post probably wasn't the best way to do it, so I thought I'd record a video reading this writing to you. So thank you so much for taking the time, and I hope you find it interesting. So sorry if I'm not looking at the screen the whole time, it's because I'm looking at my computer. So here we go. When I started B.Willow in 2014, my dream job was to work in the environmental world, doing whatever I could to help affect positive change. My college years were deeply influenced by my studies on climate change and sustainability, as well as my major, which was psychology. Viewing environmental challenges from a psychological lens is essential. Our ability to make broad environmental improvements depends on behavioral change. In other words, it's not just about picking up trash, it's about getting people to not litter in the first place. So bringing awareness of issues is one very, very important part of this, but it really must go deeper than that. So I've been fascinated by this topic for the last 15 years, how to really get people to not only care about the environment, but to take an active stance on preserving and protecting it. So my initial thought process and why I decided to pursue selling plants was that first and foremost, we must feel more connected to the natural world. The fact that there's a word for it, nature, that is largely viewed as separate to us humans is quite telling. We're so obviously part of nature. It doesn't exist separate to us. However, our first world way of life exists greatly in isolation to other species and the outdoors. So this magnifies the separation from all other life forms that we largely feel. We spend way too much of our time inside, and the negative effects of this are vast, but that's a whole nother conversation. So bringing plants inside, creating that daily reciprocal interaction with other species, to me, felt like step one of what I could help change. And the mental benefits of such interactions was also such a big reason why I wanted to sell plants. So 8 years after starting my business, my environmental goals have really sharpened. Now focusing more so on conservation and biodiversity. So for context, if you have ever watched any of David Attenborough's features on TV, I'm sure you kind of know what I'm about to talk about. Our ecosystems are in crisis. Humans are driving countless species into extinction. And though much has already been lost, there's still so much that can be preserved and restored. And for a while now, I've been thinking really nonstop about this topic of biodiversity, and more specifically that of plants and the illegal plant trade. I've been thinking about how my business could make a huge impact on not only educating our customers about the topic, but how we could make a financial impact. Excuse me. Every day, my business stirs our local economy. With reliable money coming in and out, I recognize how privileged I am and how much of a difference I could potentially make. So to help me navigate the world of conservation, I reached out to my friend, Dr. Jared Maguire. And Jared is an assistant professor in the Department of Geography at the University of Alabama. So previously he was a postdoctoral researcher at the University of Sheffield, and he worked with a BioSec project, which is a 4-year research effort to understand the increasing linkages between biodiversity and securitization through the study of illegal wildlife. So Jared is currently studying the global illegal trade in succulent plants and is writing a book on the topic, tentatively titled The Succulent Subject, A Political Ecology of Plants, Illicit Trade and Desire. His research broadly focuses on human-wildlife relations through the lens of political ecology. So super interesting. He graciously connected me with his colleagues at the IUCN, which is the International Union for Conservation of Nature, and specifically the Cactus Succulent Plant Specialist Group, CSSG, within the IUCN, and the Desert Botanical Garden, the DBG, in Arizona. So in 2017, this group, the CSSG of the IUCN, partnered with the Desert Botanical Garden in Arizona, and they now act as a host institution to aid them in leading, promoting, and furthering cactus and succulent conservation efforts worldwide. So they really work together. So I'm beyond excited to announce that B.Willow is now formally partnered with the DBG and the CSSG. And the goal is really to promote conservation and focus specifically on the illegal plant trade through education. So things like social media posts, blog posts, guest lectures, as well as fundraising. So variety of ideas, but donating a portion of sales of specific plans, collaborative merchandise down the line, donation-based tickets to these lectures, and other different online learning opportunities. So our goal is to really enable our customers to help us make a difference. So in effect, supporting us will support conservation worldwide, which could be huge. So we're super excited for our first lecture, which will feature Jared, on March 17th at 6 p.m. And his talk is called, "Is My Cactus Illegal?" And it will cover why an illegal trade in cactus and succulent plants exists, the challenges for combating illicit succulent trades worldwide, examples of ongoing illicit succulent trades from current research, and key things to look out for in acquiring new plants to promote sustainable plant trades. So yeah, this is really just the start, just making it known that we are now formally partnered with these different groups and that there's so much more yet to come. But to kick it all off, we have this monthly lecture series, which will feature Jared. So this will really give you a good kind of introduction into this whole world of the illegal plant trade and why it is so important that all of us as plant consumers educate ourselves on the matter. And with the rise of e-commerce and online shops selling plants, it's really important to consider the ethics of how those plants are sourced. So these slower growing plants that are easier to kind of ship bare root, like succulents and cacti, are really the plants that we have to look out for, because those are the ones that are currently heavily in certain areas being taken straight out of the wild, shipped and sold. So just a very brief kind of introduction into that with much more detail to come. But thank you so much for watching. I know this has been a little bit of a long video, but feel free to see all of this on our blog, on our website, and please, please, please join us for the first lecture featuring Jared. We will link to that in our stories and have lots of information about that leading up to the date. So thanks so much. Have a great week.